Hello, everybody. My name is Shino, and I am the creator of this language that I call Lesbani. So, it started out as just like a little side project with my friends, but over time, I've told some people about it, and they seem to really like it. So, I'm creating these little tutorials as assistance if anybody else is interested in learning it. So make sure to join the Discord if you haven't already. I put a link in the description. Make sure to check out the Lesbani website. That will also be in the description. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the first lesson, which is the Lesbani alphabet. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to show a picture of the letter, and I'm going to tell you like what it means, what it's written out with when it's used the Latin alphabet, kind of a way you can try to remember it, and then I'm also going to tell you how it's pronounced. So, for example, this first one is the Lesbani letter A. It resembles kind of a backwards number 3, and it's pronounced like the vowel sound in the word caught. Depending on your dialect, this example may not be accurate, but it's like the ah, like ah sound, like that one. Okay, there's 21 letters, so we're just gonna run through them, and hopefully you find this tutorial helpful. So this is B, or the Lesbani equivalent. It kind of looks like the number 2, and you can remember how it's pronounced by the word bail. So it's that little the, like the b sound. So honestly, there's not many other ways for a B to be pronounced, but that's it. So this is the way that this alphabet is going to work. So this is B. And you can remember this because like the top half of it kind of looks like a letter D, and it is pronounced like duh, like as in door. So duh, again, there's not that many ways you can pronounce a D, so that one's kind of a given. E, the Lesbani letter E, it kind of resembles this little like roller coaster shape, and it's pronounced like the vowel sound. It's pronounced like eh, like the vowel sound in set. Again, if you speak a different dialect of English than what I do, then that word may not be so accurate, but you can remember it as being the eh sound. So all right, number 5. This is G. Oddly enough, yes, it does look like the lowercase e. So that might take some getting used to, but don't worry. I believe in you. You'll get there. It is pronounced like the G in golf. So the hard G sound, like g, g. It's not like the j or j or the soft G. It's the g, like the hard G sound, like the sound that you first think of if you speak English as a first language, like the sound that you first think of when you hear the letter G. H, if you flip it around, it kind of looks like a lowercase h. So you can remember that. One of my friends actually told me that. I didn't notice that until she pointed it out. It is pronounced like the H in the word hair. So like we don't have any action going on, like no complicated sounds. The only sound in Lesbani that is not in English is the R, but we'll get to that eventually. And it's still not super difficult, in my opinion. But let's keep going. This is I. It kind of looks like a coat hanger if you've ever seen those. And it's like the E sound, like the double E. Like I gave the example of SEA, which yeah, like I'll admit that might not be the best example, but the I is the E sound. Like I is the E sound. So there's that. This is J. This one should be pretty easy to remember because it it very much so looks like a J. But this J is pronounced like the Y, like a Y, like an English Y, as in you can see the example a year. So this is something that's very common in a lot of languages, and I wanted to implement it because I just don't. I just think it looks better. Like this might be a bit of a personal bias, but like, I like languages, and Tokipona does the J with the Y. So I implemented it, and we're gonna roll with it. This is K. It's pronounced exactly how it looks, just like the C in cable, like hard C. It's not the sound, like it's not the S sound because we have an S for that. Uh, Someone needs to explain that to whoever's making the English spelling rules. But yeah, this is the K or the This is the K sound. This is L. So if you remember the A, kind of looks like that, but we just we add a little fancy little curl at the end and pronounce like the L in late, like L. So it's not too difficult so far. Like I've designed all these letters to be able to be written with one stroke of the pencil or pen or whatever you're using. This is M. It kind of looks like the number 3. And as I'm looking at this right now, you can kind of rotate it and it looks like an M. And because Lesbani does not have a W, that's another way you can remember it. It's pronounced like the M sound in mole, like mm. This is N. I'm sorry, my spacebar glitched out. This is N. It kind of looks like a fancy English Y, and it's pronounced like the N, like in like near and all that. So yeah, this is O, and it kind of looks like an S if you connected the N back up. It's pronounced like O, pronounced like the vowel sound in note. Again, if you again, and this applies with all the vowel sounds. If you speak a different dialect of English, like these example words might not be the best, but just remember, like the O is an O sound. And next letter, this is P. This looks like the number 2 if there was a dot underneath it. And the reason I put the dot is to distinguish it from the numeral. And it's pronounced like the P in part, so P, P. Again, a lot of these letters, there's really only one way to say them, and P is one of them. So, again, P for P, and let's move on. This is R. If you know the Greek alphabet, you might recognize the symbol. This is looks a lot like lowercase Greek letter phi. And again, this is the only one that's not in English, because it uses because in Spanish, it uses, like, the Spanish has, like, the da and, like, the ra, but you will not have to learn how to do a rolled R, so don't worry about that. You just have to do the single, like, da, like the tat. Think kind of the midway point between an L and a D if you're having trouble pronouncing it. Sorry, I stumbled over my words there. Again, it's pronounced like, and as I have written, it's pronounced like the single R used in Spanish words such as ahora. Again, you do not have to learn the rolled R. That's just something I can do, like ra. Like it's so fun to do. If you can, I recommend learning it, not for Lesbani, just because it sounds so fun to do. Uh, Number 16, this is S, and it looks like the number 3. And again, we have the dot to distinguish it from the numeral. It is pronounced like the S in the word sell, like there's no sh action going on. It's s. So sell, that's the sound for S, and that's what it looks like. This is T. It looks like if you take the number 5 and like do some rotation on it, pronounced like the T in the English word tour. So once again, I'm gonna repeat this a lot, probably a few more times. There's not a lot of ways you can pronounce a T. So again, this one's kind of self-explanatory. It kind of looks like the number 6, but it's got that little small curl at the top. It's pronounced like the vowel sound in the word tune, like like the sound. And once again, English dialects come into play. That may not be accurate, but the dialect I speak, that's like tune, like the sound, so that's the word I used. If you have a problem with it, just come up with your own word, because like I want to make this as easy as possible. So if you have a word that you like better to remember how it's pronounced, by all means use it. This is X. It looks like a cursive Y. Try not to get that confused. And the X in this language is pronounced like the sh sound. Like the example I gave is the word shore. But a lot of languages, I'm pretty sure Chinese, like the romanization, the X is used for the sh sound. Like xiaohongshu, that's like one of the only Chinese words I know. Like that starts with an X and starts with sh. So X, sh. We're moving on. Spacebar, weird again. This is NY, and you can remember, like, it kind of looks like part of a plant stem, kind of, and it's pronounced nya. Like, think the country Kenya, or like Italian GN if you're learning that, because Italian GN is pronounced like nya. So, like, a lot of English words are spelled like that because we butcher Italian pronunciation, like lasagna. That one's a bad example. Bologna. Like, that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, but I don't know. Just Kenya, that's the example I use. NY, you can also use nya, like the Japanese nya nya. Uh, last letter. This is Z. It kind of looks like the cursive Z from English, if you know cursive. I know a lot of people like Gen Z, Gen Alpha. I know a lot of people are starting to like fade out cursive, like. But if you know it, that'll give you a really good way to remember it. Pronounce again, because there's not many ways you can pronounce a Z. It's pronounced like the Z sound in the word zone. So like the Z sound. So, and then you can remember this because like the S had the little three, and S and Z, like S and Z, very closely related sounds, and they have similar shapes. So you can use that to remember it if you would like. Uh, Thank you so much for watching. I hope this little tutorial was enough to kind of give you a head start. If you go on the website, like the Lesbani website, there is an option to take an alphabet test, and that is required for the LESA system. You can read more about that on the website. I don't want to make this video too long. As you can, next episode, we're gonna learn how to like greet someone, say goodbye, all that. But until then, thank you so much for watching again. Make sure to subscribe if you are interested in learning the language and join the Discord. That will be in the description. And yeah, Shino out. See you later.